Sometimes you just have too many tabs open.
And I should unmute myself. Let's start with that.
Details.
Yeah, I find that I have issues with that at work predominantly, where you're scrambling to put something together for your manager or for a presentation you have to do, and it's like, where was that tab? And I've got to search through all 29 that I have open in Chrome and tell you.
Yeah, first world problems. I remember the time when we had too many browser windows open, and now it's tabs.
Tabs. But
Tabs
you know what?
giveth, the tabs taketh away.
I like to push the envelope, Corey, to see how thin I can get those tabs to look in Chrome. Right, and then when it gets to be a little too much, like when the cursor is bigger than the tab itself, then I close what I don't need. And generally those things that I close, I haven't looked at in about 36 days or so.
I remember a time when Windows didn't group all the open windows on the taskbar. So it was just like an endless, like multiple lines of everything that was open.
So barbaric.
Isn't it though?
Honestly.
Again.
Speaking of which, Internet Explorer is kaput.
It will be missed. No.
Will it though? I will miss all the viruses that it's given me. Or the computer, I should say.
Well, that's like the thing that like I was thinking about the other day when everyone was like, good riddance. I'm thinking, it wasn't always like that.
No.
It just became just riddled with viruses.
When Vista was introduced as the villain, it all started with Vista.
Yeah, we got off XP and moved your way over to Vista.
Bring back Netscape Navigator, I say.
Yeah, Netscape Navigator was my browser of choice when I was
there was another one.
A younger lad. There's a whole bunch.
Firefox, wasn't it?
Yeah, Firefox is still around. It doesn't get the love that Chrome does.
Wow,
but
that's impressive.
What is Opera? Opera is another small one.
Never heard of it.
Never will.
I think you're lying. Opera?
No, I used to use it all the time too. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. So, what is it with the? What would you say with Firefox and with Opera? What is it that gets the users loyal to using that OS?
I think it's the tie to the bigger entities or the organizations, right? So people use Chrome because it's Google. People use Internet Explorer because it's Microsoft. When you have a Mac, use Safari because it's the default comes with Apple. That's my thinking.
So you can say F you to the man and use Firefox or Opera.
Yeah, like Firefox is, I wouldn't say open source. It could very well be. I'm sure someone will complain about my mistaking it. But you are able to do like more with it than you would like a Chrome. And I think it's probably one of those things, kind of like how Apple with their iOS steal stuff from Android. I think the other web browsers take the stuff that people do with Firefox.
Okay, but the whole like open source thing, I get it. You have you're less tied down to what your content is, and you can open it up to a lot of creativity and this, that, and the other. But then doesn't it also invite more issues to your device that you're using? And in this day and age with like DDoS attacks and all these other issues, that open source would be something you'd be a bit more, I'll put that to the side. Maybe I'll trust the closed source, the vetting process that Apple has or that, Microsoft has or whatever.
Like you said, that is like, it is kind of ironic that people would more trust Joe somebody on the internet building a platform and then
who's in Russia.
Letting anybody anywhere add to it or build it up versus corporate America.
Yeah.
It's like how we have like Mastodon trying to take off, right, for social media is like the counterpoint to Twitter. And it's all open source. Like there's no central hub for the feed that you're on. It's all run by individuals. You can do whatever, say whatever. People, that's not,
I
people are still on Twitter.
I feel as though that the when it comes to social media, it's like, this is the next thing, and this is going to replace this, or this is going to replace that, and it's just, we now live in this, pour in the new, drain out the old. Like, it's very cyclical, right? And the one platform, which is the one that I use the most, Instagram, I feel is still pretty like solid in not having really many competitors. And I guess you could say maybe TikTok, which I don't use all that much, but I guess it's just videos, right?
Right.
But it always feels like Mastodon. Never heard of it until just 30 seconds ago. But there will always be that next version of what's new and what's going to replace. And, it's hard to keep up, I guess, with, in these old times.
Yeah.
Hard to keep up.
Like, I use Mastodon more than Twitter for the most part. Like, I only use Twitter now because the kids' school, some of the classes post like images and videos of like what the kids did that day. So it's nice to see what they're doing. But other than that, I more so get my my news and content from other Mastodon or things like Feedly and things like that.
I have not heard of any of these.
Well, Feedly is basically, it's an app you can have on your phone or iPad or whatever. And it basically, your interests, you just put it in, it's curated for you.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
It has like RSS feeds and stuff like that. And
there was something that was out maybe like 5 or 7 years ago. I seen where you could input all of your interests and places you visit, and it will just aggregate it for you.
Yeah.
So I guess that's Feedly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Flipboard's like that too.
That's what I'm thinking of. Flipboard. That's the one. The OG aggregator. That's
right.
I guess, for content. So Mastodon, I'll have to give it a shot.
It's former podcast sponsor, Flipboard.
Oh, really? Well,
I was like the first one that we had.
They're always welcome back if they want.
It was fun recording that ad.
So with Twitter, like, I'm not really a big Twitter user. I'll scroll in it just to, obviously, for that instant news, baseball, what's happening in the news, explosions in Orleans, which we'll talk about shortly. But the thing that really annoys me is just the filler in the ads, and it just gets to be too much. And I do make a point. Same thing with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, which are the three main social media platforms I use. When one of those ads comes up, whether it's for the keg or whether it's for Kleenex or whatever hell Adam being thrown in my direction, I will go and hit the ellipsis and mute it or hide it and give a reply. But it just seems to, we've taken that one away and we're going to throw 10 more in your face. It's like, fuck, like, just,
and
I want no ads.
The same. Oh no, but you can pay for the no ads.
Of course. Just like I can pay for a blue check mark to Elon, right? I'm verified. I am verified Steve McCoy.
That's right.
I could do that.
Nobody else could have your name and do it. Although, yes, they absolutely can. Because all they do is pay for it.
That's true.
So, explosion.
Wow. Okay, so for the good listener, good listeners or viewers, both, all of the above, who may be outside of the Ottawa area, my wife and I woke up at 6:20 on Monday morning to the house shaking, like literally thinking that either A, China's attacking us with balloons, B, it's an earthquake, C, my neighbor's house is on fire, or D, something else is going on literally down the street.
It's War of the Worlds. The aliens have arrived.
And, so I put on my sleuthing hat, still, cross-eyed, not really fully awake, go on Twitter, Google like Ottawa seismic activity, all this, that, and the other. Yeah. And nothing, but you know what? If one thing holds true, it's always rely on the radio to give you up to the minute information. And I found out that it was a massive explosion in Orleans, leveled 4 houses at a new build location. So I had mentioned that it shook our house. woke up out of a dead sleep, but it happened about 5 to 7 kilometers away. And so it just gives you kind of a, an idea of the size of it. I'm sure you've seen like the videos on Twitter or whatnot of the ring cameras capturing it.
I have,
but
yes.
Yeah, like I could not imagine being, and that's the thing with new developments is, you have the developers and the construction companies still building out new houses and new streets, but people moving in adjacent streets and whatnot. And I think that might be changed now. Like, I think this will be something that will make some bylaws go into effect of some sort, where there's going to be restrictions, where if there's a new build within approximate distance of completed houses, they might just say, wait, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. But it just leveled these houses. And a buddy of mine who works for Hydro Ottawa was on scene for most of the day, if not all the day, because it was from an apparent gas leak.
Yeah.
And he had sent me some insider photographs of what it was looking like, and man, it was demolished, these houses. Could you imagine putting down a down payment on a house and buying furniture, waiting whatever it is, a year or so, 9 months to have it built? And we have houses, our house is going to be ready in April or May, and very excited, we've timed up the sale of our house. Boom, nothing. Reset button, back to the beginning. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. I survived, though. I survived the explosion of 2023.
You gonna have your like Orleans Strong shirt on or something?
100%. Already on order.
Like the closest I've ever come to that was sewer work outside my parents' place one year, and I guess the buildup of the air or whatever they were working on, the gases, went through the pipes and blew up the bathroom.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like if you were sitting having a shit, you would have been killed. Like the toilet exploded, took out the shower stall, cracked the tub that was like kitty corner to where the tub was, to the toilet, I mean. And that, I wasn't at home, I was in school, but I heard about it.
My God.
Yeah, gas is dangerous.
It's like, that's why Clark bitches when Cousin Eddie is,
that's right,
does the
storm sewer
into the drain. That's crazy. So you said the toilet with the bathtub, so that leads me to believe it was the second level. They have a bungalow, right?
So it's just a one level.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But right outside the house. So just like you have the house, you have the driveway, and then just like 15 feet from the window of the living room is the sewer, and they were draining it or doing something.
How long did this take to fix, or like was it pretty like were they put out for a while? I guess. I mean, obviously, lose a bathroom, it's a necessity in the house. I get that, but
I think thankfully it happened on a weekend, so no one was working the next day. They could have went and just picked up another one. But I was, divorced family. I was at my dad's, so.
Okay.
I was not put out.
You were still able to drop deuces, no problem.
Like nobody's business.
Mexican all day long. It'll be fine. Wow.
More enchiladas, my friend.
I mean, this is, I'm 5-7 kilometers away from what happened on Monday. I mean, obviously you're at your dad's, but still, like, close to home. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. But
gas.
Unlike some people, right? It was confined to a small area. It wasn't the house.
Yeah. Nuts. Absolutely.
Yeah, but going like to new builds too. Like we had an issue just near CTC. Was it last summer or something? Where houses caught on fire.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was something. I guess they were saying builder either something got left on or whatever, and just torched a whole bunch of row houses.
And like obviously, like I'm not here to like try and solve the the housing, the housing issue or not. But there is a point where you look at this and it's like, okay, clearly it's quantity over quality. It's just turn these out, return these out, turn these out. Newer builds, like they're so close to each other. I live in an 89, and like the space I have between the houses are so massive, whereas now you can't even fit like a bobcat, you know, and that's why I feel, like I said earlier, that there should be some discussion at the very least on how they approach new build developments in specific areas, whether it's waiting until a certain block is complete before letting people in, and then waiting until like there's a distance between the two, as I mentioned, because like this explosion that happened on Monday, it could have completely gone sideways to what had actually happened. A lot of the other houses that were in surrounding areas had, you know, the windows from their garage and from their, you know, front windows all blown in, sidings coming down, eaves drop off and whatnot. So to be for nothing really serious to happen in terms of injury wise, they should be very lucky, you know. But
all right, let's watch some stuff.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk, but let's watch some things.
Okay,
so we'll open with The Flash. First trailer. Let's see it, then we'll discuss.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, a couple things.
Yeah, I have a few.
I hate that suit. Mainly the cowl.
You're talking about, sorry, which suit?
The Flash.
Yeah, okay.
It sits too big for like the skinny body.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just so used to the Grant Gustin suit.
You know what though? When there was a scene where the younger Barry was running out of the house and he ran by the Flash,
Mm-hmm.
that looked almost like a classic Flash suit. There wasn't the lines with the electricity going up.
Yeah.
That looked like that suit in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's what it looks like when he's not leveraging the Speed Force, but that suit was nice. But yes, check. I agree.
I also like this movie due to COVID had I don't know how much time, maybe 2 years. The CGI looks terrible. It looks just too plastic for my taste, especially on the movements, especially in the latter part of it with Kara and the Batwing and that stuff. I just find we're so far now with the means of producing something of great graphics by computers, and they still are going cheap.
I wonder if it's just because of all the not retakes but the reshoots and whatnot. They're blowing money hand over fist. Funny thing I saw yesterday, or not yesterday, but a few days ago at least on the internets, was that Ezra Miller was cast as the Flash in 2014.
Right.
A week or so after the premiere episode of Grant Gustin's Flash, episode 1 aired.
Yep.
Now, this movie is finally coming out,
mm-hmm.
and it's going to be coming out the month before, the month after the final season of the Flash TV show is done, which is 9 seasons. So it just kind of puts into some context the shit show that the whole DCEU was.
Yeah, they've been trying to make this a long time. And
yeah.
I think even but I think even then it was still Flashpoint is where they wanted to go with it. Like, why would I still don't get like this makes sense, reset everything because they're resetting everything.
Right.
But given how this was written and was supposed to take place 2 years ago when they were not doing it, to me, just it's odd to pull Flashpoint as the first Flash movie.
But I think it was always going to be Flashpoint.
No, I get it. It's probably like the seminal Flash story.
Yeah, I would say so.
One of, if not if not one of.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm trying to
all on board Keaton,
understand. Keaton was amazing, and I feel like there's just a lot of moving parts, which I want in a weird way from this movie. Mm-hmm. But I'm still trying to understand who the main antagonist is, because I feel like they wouldn't be throwing Zod in our face in the first trailer multiple times through multiple scenes, trying to convince us that he is the main antagonist. I understand that they're following the original Flashpoint storyline in many aspects of the trailer. Mm-hmm. Mainly the fact that Kara, it was Clark, but in this movie they're using Kara, very mm-hmm. thin, very frail, where the government's holding her in this bunker away from sunlight so that she can get power, and then she comes back. And that scene on the base wherever in the winter was very pulled from that comic. But I can't believe, or maybe at this point I refuse to believe, let's go with that, that Zod is the main antagonist for this movie. Because I just feel it's very lazy, and if they go that route, but I'm holding out hope that they would maybe introduce Zoom or Reverse Flash as.
That's what I say. I have a feeling they're baiting us, and one of the berries is
one of the two of them. Yeah. That would be a huge spin and move away from the comics and not pull off of the history from it. But yeah, that could be.
I could see them doing it just because, again, this was the old regime, right? The old DC regime where they fucking everything up.
If we look at the timelines, he goes back to try and save him. He goes back to when his mom was killed when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And then he must go forward 10 years, we'll say.
Right, because their ages line up. Yeah.
So that their ages line up. And then I would imagine further after that, where he gets to the point where there's no metahumans, and then all shit's gone to hell. There was a poster too that I saw, and I don't know if this is fan made. I saw it as I was scrolling through, so I should have stopped and I should have found the source. But there was a poster of Barry, of Ben Affleck, of Michael Keaton, Ezra Miller, the girl that plays Supergirl. But then they had Christopher Reeve on the other side, and I was thinking, oh well, shit. Like, would they try and incorporate some scenes that they could maybe use from Christopher Reeve's Superman movies, or would that be too much of a stretch to incorporate that? Which
I don't know.
Part of me is
at
like,
this point,
maybe it would be like, are you really, like, you're obviously spending tens upon tens of millions of dollars for these reshoots and whatnot just to get it so that it's doing what it's supposed to do for the future of the DCEU. But would you spend those millions of dollars on incorporating Christopher Reeve's Superman into the story, like, instead of just keeping it to basics and trying to tell us a succinct story? I don't know. What else?
Did you see this still of the Batcave, the suits?
I feel like I saw a different image of it.
Oh,
but
so what I thought was cool, someone pointed out too, is like, so you have the movie right in the center, movie version of it. So, but over the far left, if you were to Professor zoom in, it's the Adam West logo on the chest.
Okay.
66 Batman, and then you have what clearly looks like a Neil Adams gray and blue, and then you have the 89, and then the 91, and then I don't know what the far two suits are, but I just thought it was a nice callback to the comics history.
I feel like one of the far two from the image still that I saw was one of them was almost like the kryptonite suit that Batman wears in Batman versus Superman. So this might be this Earth's version of that. And I think it might be
the goggles are for.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited to see Bruce Keaton. Thank you, Michael Keaton. Bring it back. Like, can we just say that he's just he's a treasure? He's a goddamn treasure.
America's
cinematically, yeah, like he's just everything. He's awesome, and I'm very excited to see what he has to do in this movie. Will they make it so that he's like Thomas Wayne in the comics? I don't know how they would do that if he's Bruce Wayne, but maybe they kind of incorporate it because he is older. Maybe he had a son like Damian who was lost, and he's vengeful, and I don't know.
It's so disappointing to know that officially the former head of Warner Brothers said that the plan was Batman Beyond with Keaton after post Flash. Like, he was going to be around, and now none of the projects with him are happening.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, it was confirmed. He literally did I don't know if it was a statement or was it interviewed or something. He said what their plans were. Obviously, this going to come back for Batgirl, and then was
that movie Batman that we'll never see ever, right? Yeah. Batgirl.
Yeah. I don't care. I'm sure if you would have released it as bad as it would have been, you would have got asses and seats to see for people to see Keaton again.
Oh, for sure. Even yeah, I don't know. I think that was a stupid mistake, but maybe they will bring him back. I mean, there was a point in time where Hugh Jackman had said that he would never reprise the role of Wolverine, and he's come back. Same with Patrick Stewart. He's come back. Same with Ian McKellen. He's come back. So like there are sample cases where one thing is said, but another thing's done.
Let's just do some Elseworlds.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Give Keaton a Dark Knight Returns.
How awesome would that
be? Right? He's old enough now.
Like,
he's old enough now.
Amazing would that be? Like, that would be, yeah, like dark, disgruntled, older, angry.
He kind of comes across as old and angry in this one a little bit.
Except for the first scene when he was like, yeah, I'm Batman. Like, You knew it.
That's
here.
that's for us. That's for the fans.
That is for us. That is for us. They CGI'd it with like similar to how they CGI'd Cavall's mustache out of Justice
League.
League.
Of the smirk.
They gave a smirk. That's right.
A little smirk. Alrighty, another big Super Bowl reveal. I haven't even actually talked about the Super Bowl. Did you watch any of that?
I did. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Not a second. In my house. What was I watching instead?
Trailers.
That. I feel like I was watching a movie. I don't remember now.
We had some friends over, and
there you go. That's
girls were talking, and so we had it on in the background. I'd say I probably watched about 70% of the game, if I'm being honest.
So we got the final Guardians trailer for the final Guardians movie.
Hmm.
You left out some important information, but that is the gist of it. I get the same old dreams, same time every night. Fall to the ground and I wake up. My sacred mission is to create the perfect society. He didn't want to make things perfect. He just hated things the way they are. I want you all to know that I am grateful to fight beside my friends. Incinerate them. We were always searching for a family. And how we found each other. Are you ready for one last ride? We'll all fly away together into the forever. That beautiful sky.
Who is he carrying there?
It's Quill.
Okay.
They were replaced by my father as a method of torture. He picked a pretty set.
Admittedly, I haven't seen this trailer. This is the first time I'm seeing this trailer.
I still can't make heads or tails of what's going on.
No.
Like what the story is going to be of it.
Yeah.
Like is the high evolutionary... What's he up to?
I don't know
just
if
stumble across or
yeah. I think it's pretty obvious, I guess, from the trailers that the High Evolutionary is the one who created Raccoon. Fine.
Yeah, Rocket. Yep.
Not comic accurate, but I mean, for the purposes of the MCU, makes sense. I get it. But to your point, yeah, like what is the overall story outside of there being a lot of pain and grief at some point, because there are going to be some actors that are not going to be portraying the characters any longer after this. David Bautista, others, like I think I don't know what to expect. I did like how they limited Will Poulter's appearances Adam Warlock in the second trailer, because the first one, when you saw that still of his face, it looked like a Power Ranger villain. So it was just like, maybe they recognized that and said, okay, we'll just wait until the movie. But to your point, how does he play into this? Obviously, it's a cosmic story, and all three of them have been cosmic stories, so it would make sense for him to be introduced. But
yeah, the only thing I can think of is what's her face from Volume 2 sends him out to go after the Guardians, and he's kind of like a bounty hunter almost.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, because at the end, that's right. Because at the end of the Volume 2, they were like, "We shall call him Adam,"
That's
and then we got so excited about it, and that was 6 years ago, and then we forgot. I also read too that the I can't remember his name, who's playing High Evolutionary, that he was like one of the best to work with, and he was so professional, and like he really did a good job of portraying the High Evolutionary, who's a very complex character to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be curious to see how that aspect is portrayed. But you're right. Like, what is the story?
Yeah, I think 2 trailers and you still don't know what's going on. Either you're gonna be very disappointed or very intrigued.
And there's that one scene where they're flying out of, it looks like an organ with like a body part, and like I feel like that has to mean something, like they're somewhere, whether they're like in the intestines of a celestial, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the one scene in the first trailer where they're different, they're flying in space, I believe it was, and they're all different colors. Like I feel like there's symbolism in that we don't yet know.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued. Yeah, I don't know. I think we just need to like. I'm really hoping that with the kickoff of Phase 5, this being the second film, they'll start to now systematically plant the seeds for the bigger picture. But is the High Evolutionary like a minion of Kang, who's, I believe, going to be like the main villain of the next 2 phases?
Right.
Or is he just a one-off? Because Marvel's been very guilty of having these great characters, and then boom, they're done after one. Like Red Skull and Killmonger, like just all these other ones where it was like, wow, we could have done so much more, and it was done after one and done, as they say.
Yeah, that's the problem with Hollywood, right? They like to have some sort of finality with their stories, right? So we have Spider-Man against Green Goblin. Well, we have to wrap this story up, so let's kill him off so we can move on to the next villain. Kill off Dr. Octopus, move on to the next villain. Kill off Venom so we can move on to the next villain.
No, just let them go and lick off their wounds and come back 2 or 3 movies later, or the next movie.
Right. Like we have, The Raft, you could have thrown them in. You have Arkham Asylum, you can throw them all in. You have Ravencroft, Blackgate. All these places you can put all these people.
Just kill them dead. Very simple.
Yeah. Dead, done, move along.
Done. Yeah. Cut it out. You're done.
Did you also see this bit of news, as it were? Hold on. My sharing is taking... We are getting a live action Spider-Man Noir series on Amazon.
I did not see this.
It is going to be 100% live action, my friend.
Oh my god. That's amazing.
It's probably unconnected to any version of the character, and it's supposed to be set in the 20s.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Black and white Nazi fighting, egg cream drinking riff on everybody's favorite Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Oh, the 1930s. The series follows an older, more grizzled version of the web slinger from 1930s New York. That's all we got on it so far.
Pulls a lot from the Spirit, pulls a lot from Dick Tracy, pulls a lot from that noir, obviously because of the namesake. But there's something I really love about this, and there's something I'm concerned about this. And my concern, I'll start with the bad. The concern
always start with the bad.
Yeah, the concern is yet another example of just a spray and pray of properties and like cohesiveness and just whatever, and it's on Amazon. So I mean, my concern is that it might just have one season and then that's it, unless it is really popular. On the other hand, initially, not even hearing about this until just now, I'm really excited if they take an approach like Sin City and the filmography of how they did Sin City, not fully where it was like the visual effects, but if they incorporate some of that, then it could be very good. Will Nicolas Cage voice or play him? I hope not.
No, probably not. I don't know who you'd get for that.
They need to scour the internets for like someone that narrates a podcast that has a 1930s radio voice or something like that.
Well, it's older and grizzled, but you got to go think you're probably going to plan for 2 seasons. So someone who wants to dedicate 2 years, right? And it's going to be on cable, so streaming, I guess, is effectively like the new cable. So you will have a year. So you have a season air 1 year, then you won't shoot till the next year, or beginning half of the other year, and it airs. So yeah, you get 2 full years. Yeah, I don't know who you can. Maybe maybe get Toby. Let Toby do it.
Oh, that would be.
Let him try it out.
Interesting. Could we just get a villain that's like, man, see, Capra, you ain't got me. I knew it was you the whole time. Maybe we do something.
Gotta have Hammerhead to have the Dick Tracy look.
Yeah.
Maybe even Tombstone.
Tombstone.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, Kingpin's involved.
Falcone, I mean, that's just recycled and rehashed too many times over. I would say no, move on. But yeah, Kingpin, Tombstone, and Hammerhead, to your point, would be a great start. When is it supposed to be? When is it coming out? Like, did they say, or did they just announce it?
I don't think it was just announced. Just said in the works.
Okay.
Targeting. Yeah, it didn't say. I'm gonna say
2027.
2024. That's my guess.
2024. I'm all for it. I actually have his figure right over there. Spider-Man Noir. Do you have one as well? Oh, there you go. Of course.
I got them both.
Yeah.
And the second one. Eyes Without a Face.
Yeah.
I think I have the whole run, actually, to be honest with you. I got X-Men Noir, Daredevil Noir, Punisher, Wolverine. Yes, sir.
It was a great concept. One that I think volume 2. Who wrote volume 2? It's Stoll, I guess, would have been. Is that?
I don't know. Hein, Sapolsky.
Oh, yeah, CB Sobalski.
Probably, capitalizing on the Frank Millers, right, in the Sin City at the time.
For sure. I will definitely be watching that. 100%. There's some other Marvel news too. I don't know if you had queued that up.
Go ahead. What you got? I can't run the whole show.
All of the announcements that they were making. The fact that they are scaling back on TV shows for this year, which I think is a good thing. I think they had obviously listened to a few of our episodes and we're like, they're starting to make a lot of sense here.
I like to think we should shape the world.
They're starting to make a lot of sense. So they're
I think they're saying 2? Likely
2.
only
So
2.
It's going to be Loki season 2 and Secret Wars.
That's all they need.
That's it. And
give me the Skrulls and give me Loki season 2.
Yep, I'm happy with that too. But like, it's Echo, which has wrapped production. I think they're in post production now. If not, it's canned, ready to go. That's delayed. She-Hulk will be delayed. Agatha Harkness. Agatha Harkness is done.
Yep.
For now anyway. Nova, they said it's going to be What If season 2. which I'm okay with. I mean, see, what if I think just wait till they drew a lot of they drew their inspiration from the first 20 some odd films of phases 1 through 3.
Mm-hmm.
So give yourself a bit more, runway to draw some inspiration for the second season. So hold off on that. Nova, they're saying, is going to be pushed out till much later. Massive announcements. Like, I guess there's some Fantastic Four news that's imminent. And I saw also that Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, Sir Ian McKellen, are not done with the Marvel movies in some way, shape, or form, and they have plans.
So yeah, probably Deadpool showing up,
which I have a bit of an issue with. Like, don't get me wrong.
All right, go ahead.
Like, those two.
Let's get on the soapbox.
Like, those two were instrumental in igniting a genre for a generation and two. When X-Men came out in 2000, it was really that first movie that was like, holy shit, this could work. If this goes well, we could start seeing some other comic-based movies, which it did, and we all know what's happened thereafter. So don't take anything away from their part that they played in giving us all the movies and properties that we have now.
Right.
But age doesn't wait for anyone. And I felt it was very apparent in the multiverse that Patrick Stewart's age was very apparent in
he did look rough.
He looked old. He looked not haggard, but he looked old. He looked tired. He looked like he was not a superhero mutant in that world.
Right.
So you fast forward 3-4 years down the road, even further, what does he have left in the tank? How much gas does he have left in the tank? I don't know. And yeah, I mean, even if you go back to Logan, like he looked old in Logan. Now, granted, that was in the future. It was based in the future, so he should have looked old. Like, there was that point where he should have been, but
right. But still.
So I don't know. I just feel like we as fanboys will say, like, why are you hanging up the hat? You know, like, Chris Evans, come back and play Captain America. You have a few more movies in you. And then there's others where it's like, you should hang up the hat. Why are you wearing the hat still? Anyway.
Yeah, it's at the point now where they should probably pass the baton on to somebody else.
Well, isn't the Flash going to reset that, Corey? Oh, wait. Different universe. Different property.
But also at the same time, they're keeping some people around. They already said that.
Yeah.
Bastards. Yeah, well, like I said, it's going to be the damnedest thing watching the multiverse, where in different universes, Peter Parker looks different, but not Doctor Strange or Professor X or Magneto or Wolverine. But the Fantastic Four looks different, and like, come on, like,
yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Can't make heads or tails.
No, I can't. I cannot. Like, Daredevil will look the same and Kingpin will look the same, but possibility that Foggy won't, or Karen Page, or anybody else of the Defenders.
Yeah, because like Mike Coulter, I don't think is going to be coming back. But yeah, like when you use that as the example, where you take the Daredevil family and you have two that are still in play, and then others that are like, this is Kelly Page, not Karen, it's Kelly Page.
Exactly.
And this is my friend Fraggy, not Foggy, Fraggy. like, okay.
We're going to have Christine Palmer and Stephen Strange look the same in every universe. But we're going to change up what Quicksilver looks like. And then that's when you start showing your hand. Like, oh, yeah, this isn't a really well cogged machine. It's just whoever we can get at the time.
It all starts tomorrow, Corey. Ant-Man's coming out. It all starts tomorrow. The Great Reset. The Great Reset. Or will it not achieve that?
Well, like I said, if you go by reviews, we're not off to a good start.
whatever reviews.
What do reviewers know?
Yeah, I mean,
like I said, I think I guess I was saying too is I think we're at the point where we're 87 movies into this Marvel Cinematic Universe.
well, that's it.
And they've had a very strict formula from start to finish with each one. And I think we're at the point now where the magic is worn off for at least the critics, and some fans. Like we're starting to see, where the wires are. And it could be because we've gotten so much content, which is why Feige's like, let's dial it back. And focus on quantity over quality, quality over quantity.
I have a hard time believing it because of two reasons. Number one, the Phase 4 hangover is not going to go away until a movie from Phase 5 comes out, which it has, and reviews have come in. That's fair. But I find it hard to believe when Kang, unless he is grossly misused, he should be an exciting villain. And from the reviews that I'm hearing, it's like, yeah, like Jonathan Majors is doing everything that he can to make this the next great villain of the
that's
MCU.
what I've seen too. It's basically when he's not on screen is when it falls apart.
Okay, well, let's just hope he's
on
screen.
I think what it means, and I think a lot of it too is like you have him in Ant-Man, and then you have Ant-Man. From what we've seen so far, is more campy, cartoonish, childish, and stuff. Being serious because there's stakes involved here, right? Whereas the other ones didn't really have it.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
So I think that's what's probably turning some folks off. Is like this isn't funny like we thought it would be, or this isn't as fun as we thought it would be.
Paul Rudd is not a serious actor. He's as campy can come. I've met Paul Rudd, by the way. Got my picture taken with him on our anniversary in 2014 in New York City at McCoy's Pub. Believe it or not.
Right on.
Yeah.
Why you're bearing the lead here? This should have been like
I know.
Every single time we've talked about Ant-Man, it should have been brought up. I assume nice guy.
I posted amazing guy, and so just not to get on a tangent really, but it's related, so I will. Yeah. We were in New York City, 2014. It was our anniversary. That night, we went out to see Book of Mormons. We went out to dinner beforehand, went and saw Book of Mormons. And earlier in the week, we were at my dad's apartment for a week. And throughout the course of the week, we found this pub, McCoy's Pub. Last name is McCoy. It was like, oh, this is amazing. On top of it, the drinks are cheap. I see
the connection there.
Yeah.
I get it.
But the drinks were relatively cheap, where if you go to any restaurant in New York, it was like $12 a drink. This was like $6, so it was fine. It was our place to go. It was a nice little hole in the wall. It was cozy. So we decided to go back there after the show. And we're with, obviously, Jade, myself, and her friend and boyfriend came over from England, came down to New York with us. And we're sitting in a booth, and the two girls are in front, and Rich and I are on the other side, and the girls just start losing their shit and sweaty, clammy, whatever. Like, oh my God, there's Paul Rudd. Like, well, let's go get a picture. And we got a picture with him. He chatted with us.
You can't go bother a celebrity.
He was just sitting. He was wearing an I Heart KC shirt, just unshaven, wearing a t-shirt. It was in the summertime.
A balls on him to wear a Kansas City shirt in New York City, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a good point. But
he's just asking to get chirped and to be interrupted.
He was just minding his business, and we went up and said, "Do you mind if you get a picture?" He was like, "Completely, like that's totally fine." We spent 5 minutes talking with him, and then after we went back to the booth, and then he ended up, I guess he was waiting for some friends, and his friends came, and they went and sat in the booth next to us, and then they were playing cards. So Jade and Katie, her friend, were going to the bathroom, I want to say like every 10 minutes, just so that they can get up and like take a look at him and whatnot. And he's just there playing cards with his friends at a booth. And so it was a very unique experience, but Ruddy, he's our pal, Ruddy.
Yeah. Like, and what a just easygoing thing to do. Like, not even just like, we're having dinner or whatever, just hanging out playing cards.
Yeah.
The celebrities, they are just like us.
He is, though. He, like Ryan Reynolds, I feel are just very natural dudes. You know, like they're not fake, I guess, is
Right.
for lack of a better term. Like they just feel very genuine.
Like they're celebrities
and almost
but
relatable.
They're celebrities, but really they to them what they do is a job. It's not a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So like they get a gig, great. They do the gig, they come home, they just keep it separate, right?
That's it. And Alexa, so she's trying to say something without me even mentioning her name.
Skynet.
It is, but yeah, it was a very cool experience. Very cool experience.
And unlike Sir Ian McKellen or Patrick Stewart, he does not age.
No. I mean, like you think back to like Clueless or even 40-Year-Old Virgin, like he could still pass.
Dude's in his 50s. I will say this though, I am happy to hear that he hated having to work out for this movie. I'm like, good for you. Like that gives the people who don't want to hit the gym 24/7.
Was it the Jimmy Kimmel show or the Tonight Show that he was on? It was one of the late shows, and he was talking just about that, where he was kind of making fun of himself because him and Jonathan Majors were both on covers, and they had stories within Fitness Magazine or whatever the magazine's called, and it was like, you know, Jonathan Majors flexing, drinking a shake, and like, you know, Paul Rudd just like sitting against the wall, and like it was very like very like a contrast, and he was poking fun at himself.
Majors is huge though.
He had to be, like, he was probably filming Creed in and around the same time, built like a ship brick house. So
yeah, I guess you have to be like the Clubber Lang to Rocky Balboa in this movie, right? So I guess Majors to Michael B. Jordan has to be like twice his size almost.
Definitely. But yeah, so we'll see what tomorrow brings. I don't know if
it's gonna be hard to say, man. Like it's if this is King, like and not a, we're gonna have, you know, like a toilet paper dispenser of Kings. So you're like, oh, this one goes, and there's another one after. He's got to win, so something's got to happen.
Yeah, if Kang dies at the end of this movie, which he won't because he controls time, we know that. But if they make it appear as so, and they try to be like, oh, he's come back, and like, I kind of want there to be like
just a Kang variant 105. Step aside, Kang variant 106. You're up.
A big microphone. Just is this thing on?
Just picking a number out of like the butcher.
No, but I just want there to be some like dire consequences coming out of this movie. Like I just want it to end like Infinity War ended. Will it? I don't know, but it would be friggin' cool if it did.
We feel cheated though when you walk out of Infinity War and all those people died, going, but they're coming back. So what are the stakes here?
No, I felt I really felt for the kids. I felt
more confused. I'm just like, what?
I felt really bad for the kids in the theater because obviously we saw it pre-COVID. Theater was, you know, sold out.
Yeah.
Kids and families and whatnot, we were in there, and like I remember seeing kids like crying just when Spider-Man, you know, blipped and others had blipped. And then, but I also saw like adults that were like, oh my God. Like, and it's like, do you really think that Black Panther is dead?
Just came off $1 billion movie.
Just came off of a like record-setting generational movie that just pushed everything so forward that they were just like, yeah, you know what?
I'll guarantee you, if this was a Fox movie, that 100% would have happened.
That he wouldn't have come back?
Yeah, they would have just did the movie and then try to find some way later of like, oh, should I need money?
Sure.
Let's bring him back.
And
because they did that with I think almost every person of like the one black guy in First Class. What was this character's name now? It was like the Darwin guy. You know, he's like,
yeah.
Like he says you can survive anything, but then they kill him off, and he's like literally the only one, with the exception of Kevin Bacon at the end. Spoilers, that dies. He's like, come back from this, and like puts like the fireball and is like makes him eat it.
I completely forgot about that and him, which proves your point. Right? Which proves your point. Damn, Brett Radner. Oh, it wasn't Brett Radner. It was
No, that
Singer.
was Michael Vaughn. Michael Vaughn did First Class. Singer took over afterwards.
Right. Okay. Oh yeah, Singer did Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, and it was just a whole shit show.
No, Zach Penn did Dark Phoenix. He did Days of Future Past and Apocalypse.
See, that's the problem. Is that you had all these different directors with different visions. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll deep dive the Singer's X-Men another time.
We should.
Yeah, I can watch those again.
It's been a minute since I have, so I'd be up for that.
We'll probably just spend the entire episode talking about the White House scene in the second movie.
Because it really just ends after that.
I don't remember what happened after this.
Yeah, I remember Nightcrawler coming up, kicking ass and taking names, and then it was like, well, where did the rest of the movie go? Like,
where did he go too?
Yeah, it was just, and yeah, because remember he was on the plane with Storm and Jean Grey when they had rescued him, and he went from this like ass kicking assassin to just like,
little mope.
Yeah, like little. Oh, you didn't get the drop in my neck.
And then the next movie, gone.
Terrible. Great casting though. I remember. I vividly remember that at the time, thinking like that was
Alan Cumming. Yeah,
like that was a perfect casting call for that character.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, and because we were still really new into like the whole genre, and we didn't really have much to go on except for like Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, Wolverine, the X-Men from the first movie. So like that was really where it was like, oh my god, he actually looks like Nightcrawler. He's got the thin, narrow face, and Alan Cummings.
And he can act.
And he can act. That's right. Yeah, because he would have been. Was he in The West Wing, or was it The Good Wife?
He was
coming off of a TV show like when that movie was coming out, where he was like somewhat relevant at the time. I can't remember.
Mouse die.
Uh-oh.
Nope, we're good. We're back on. Well, it's not letting me click anything, so I guess that must not be that important. Let's deep dive into Mr. Alan Cummings' filmography around, 2000 and... When did that come out? 2003?
I'm going to say 2 or 3, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say 2 or 3. Because the first one came out in 2000.
Yeah. Mr. Alan Cumming. It is a lot of TV, eh?
Yeah.
Well, Spy Kids. There you go.
Never seen it.
He was in the second one.
Was he? Yeah.
Yeah. That looks like a lot of just guest stars on guest spots on some TV series.
Come on. No.
Yeah, man. I would not make this shit up. But he's got like some good flicks in there beforehand too.
Alan Cummings. Alan Cummings. Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be exciting. I don't know when you're going to be able to see going back to Ant-Man. But when you do, we will have to do a deep dive.
Think possibly Saturday.
Okay.
But crazier things have happened.
Hey, so did you watch the All-Star game? Yeah. And the skills competition?
Yes.
Thoughts?
The All-Star game. The skills competition, I watched how you should watch any All-Star game, any skills competition. The sped up, shortened, condensed version.
Oh my god, yeah. Why didn't I do that?
That Rogers had on Sunday.
Like, skills competition in 30. Oh, that would have been amazing. Or I guess in 60. Yeah, and that's the reason why I ask is that Oliver and I watched it, and we were really excited, and we were actually going to do like a little contest between ourselves, like we picked the fastest skater, the hardest shot, whatever, and then it just went completely off the rails when they were just doing all these other like stupid in game. And I get it now. I understand why the best players in the league don't want to go to these things, and they'd rather have the few days off because they don't want to be,
embarrassed
and dressed up like a idiot and shoveled out onto the ice. But like the Billy Madison and the Miami Vice, and I was telling Oliver, and I was thinking to myself, like, they just need to get back to the point where it's like, let's get egos back on the ice and let's see who can rip and nuke the hardest shot. Let's see who can skate around the fastest. Let's see who can deke and and it not be like, I don't want to hurt other people's feelings, so we're not going to really, give it our all. Like, no, like this is a skills competition. I want to see who the best deker in the world is in this league. I want them to go out guns a-blazing, do everything that they can to score and embarrass the goalie. And you don't live in that kind of world anymore. So we have to resort to like, dunking contests and fucking like, I don't know, fancy dippity-doo, Michigan, whatever you call it, breakaways that, Ovechkin's kid's doing a breakaway and he's like 6 years old. Like, give me a break. And honestly, if I...
little toddler on the ice.
If I like, we know how it kind of works, right? Pull back the curtains a little bit. Generally, the city that's hosting it encourages people to get season tickets so they can get pre-access, this, that, and the other. So imagine doing that and then spending this money to see Ovechkin's 6-year-old kid score on Roberto Luongo, who hasn't played in the league for 7 or 8 years, or however long it's been. I'd be like, what the hell kind of show is this? Maybe that's me. I don't know.
No, I'm with you. Like, I thought it was beyond the pale of ridiculousness, especially the prepackaged Mitch Marner Miami Vice thing.
Yeah, it's just like, and the Pasternak, like, here's a guy that's like, one of the top goal scorers in the league so far, at least at that point. I don't know if he is anymore or not, but he comes out, acting like Billy Madison because Happy Gilmore, because he happens to wear a Boston Bruins jersey in the movie. And it's like, if I was an NHL player, I'd be like, no, thanks. I'll go to Turks and Caicos.
It's not even that too. It's like, how many kids watching that know Happy Gilmore, really?
Yeah. Or Miami Vice.
Especially Miami Vice.
Yeah.
So again, who are you doing it for?
The only pass that I'll give would be the when they were shooting at the surfboards to do the dunk. Like, that's cool because that actually took skill. Like, they were trying to hit something, which is fine. And even last year when it was in Vegas, like I was kind of intrigued by the cards where they had to like get the highest hand, and like that is because they're actually trying to achieve something, not trying to like, pony their way out. But it's funny because they started off at the beginning of the skills comp with like a montage of like showing Ally Afridi and Al McInnes and like these guys just blistering shots, and Mike Gartner like, going around the boards and skating super fast. And it's like, well, it's not like that anymore.
No, and like and there's no stakes in this tournament either. Like, they should have it where no matter, like, it's even though it's divisional for the tournament, but then you get the final. If it's East versus West, winner gets home ice for the playoffs or for the Cup final, right? Do it like with baseball. Give it some teeth to make it worth people actually tuning in.
Because then you might actually have these marquee players deciding, you know what, yeah, maybe I will go. But when even contests, I don't think they had it this year, but even the ones where it's like, like shooting, like flipping the puck and like trying to get it through this little small net and aiming it like where you have like accuracy, like do that, like just do things like that. But you run into an issue when you constantly try and reinvent yourself that you've lost sight of what the original intent was, if
Right,
that makes
like-
sense.
Yeah, like you can't have a breakaway challenge and try to make it the slam dunk competition.
No, unless you want to go all like
Because you have a
jump off
goalie there
the edge.
who's going to stop it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if they don't attempt at all, you would still run the risk of hitting them, and it stops it anyway.
Like they should honestly. Oh, here we are. I'm just bitching about them reinventing year after year, and here I'm coming out with something else they should try. Is like, but if it's the goalies that are concerned about like being made to look like a fool, then maybe you just take the goalies out of it and you have like a an open net, but then you have super small targets that you try and hit, like smaller than the puck, so that you really have to be accurate. I mean, I don't know. Try something like that. Gary Bettman.
Yeah, Gary. Although he's really more about coming in and getting booed, right?
He loves it.
I know. I good on him too. Like, remember when they had their first thing about Vegas, and he was like in there. Everyone, like, some people were kind of booing.
You're gonna want to hear this.
And he's just like, come on, like everybody. And then they'll boo. It's like, yeah, now you're a hockey town.
Yeah. It's great. That's
So
what that's the New York I don't give an F attitude that he has. The New York lawyer who doesn't give a shit. he's got skin that's thicker than crocodile skin, so he doesn't.
Yeah, well, because at the end of the day, right, he doesn't speak to the fans. He answers to the owners.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, he's just the lightning rod, right?
Just make some money.
Yeah, that's all he has to do. If they're making money, they're happy. He's doing his job. If you guys don't like it, that's on you. But get mad at the owners, not at the face of them.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's their lawyer. That's his job. So we were talking a bit last, I guess 2 weeks ago, before last, about
episode 97.
Chat GBT, and we came up with our new synopsis. So I figured, since we're wrapping up and you're still trying to figure something out, that Chat GBT could give you a hand. So if you want, here's what it generated for you to close out the show.
Do you want me to read it?
You could read this and we can say it, or you can take this home and edit it and condense it. I do like the last line. I don't know how it works.
Keep it geeky. I love it. Why didn't I think of that?
I did one for everybody because I thought, like, isn't the whole point of Chat GBT supposed to like scour the interweb and look at like your
the whole point of Chat GPT is to eliminate humankind. But
I get that.
If you drill it down further, then yes, it's to scour the internet on a insanely stupider rate than Google ever could.
But is this supposed to like find like stuff that like perhaps like if it has our name in it that is supposed to? Someone told me that it's like you're supposed to kind of be, at the end of the day, when you ask it to do something as yourself, it's supposed to like pick up your tendencies of certain language or something.
Yeah,
so it's supposed to sound like us. Yeah, because like I have one for me, and similar, like it says keep the geek spirit alive, and we'll see you next week. One for I have one do for shows is keep your nerd glasses on. Nice. So keep it geeky is like seems to be the common theme for all the.
I'm going with that. I don't care if Skynet's listening and they're gonna like they're gonna do something in my
keep
sleep.
It geeky t-shirts.
Keep it geeky. That's the next product that has to be made.
You see here that like, it did incorporate what you said before about subscribing and keeping shit in there.
Yeah.
So you might have your outro.
I might. And then we just have to take turns reading it, And,
or you're just like take that thank you for joining us part out because we don't thank people.
Fuck that. Who cares? You listen, great. If you don't, fuck yourself. There's a so Chat GBT is what it is, and there was a student in Toronto, a university student, who for his master's thesis created, it's called chat. Is it GPT-0 or Chat-0 or Chat GPT-0?
Oh yeah, I think I saw this. Yeah,
where it basically will now counteract Chat GPT and let teachers know if something was written using AI. And I think it's great because this is really just, we see so many other things in the world that make us all stupider as a society. Well, this is just
biggest culprits right here.
This is screaming to me that the singularity is coming sooner than we think. But I like how it will now call out the fact that no, this is used by AI, but we're going to use it just this one time, right? Like we still have our own natural human thoughts that we speak and say during the episodes. So
do you think then what this is saying is we're going to be at the point now where a teacher's going to get something and just not trust their student anymore? They're just going to instantly assume, or they're just going to be one of those, I believe you wrote this, but we just have to do this as it's going to be part of what they do. It's like a requirement now. So when you get an assignment, it has to go through this filter to find out. And then from there, grade what you thought.
Well, this student that created this Chat GPT-0 had already 3,200 teachers sign up to use it as a means to determine if people in their class were using AI for their essays or whatnot.
Right.
But then you just say teachers becoming untrusting of the students. And you remember when we were in school, it was a big thing to if you were that person, I will admit I've done it once or twice, where you'd have the back of the calculator and you would tape on a piece of paper. You would tape that piece of paper to the bottom of that calculator and you'd slide it in so that if you needed the answers, you would just lift up the calculator. And that was how you deceived teachers. Now we have computers and doing it for us.
Yeah, I remember being told you have to study because you're not going to have your calculator with you when you go for that test. And now it's everywhere. It's with you all the time. Your calculator is good to go.
Now you will eventually have a calculator put into a chip inside of your skin.
I remember I've seen people do it, and it was on TV where people would write on their water bottle on the inside of the label.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And then wrap it around. And then when you could see it. I don't know, given how small it is, how much you can get on there, but
you'd have to be very selective. You would have to be sure as shit what you knew and what you didn't know. Didn't know, pardon me. Because you'd have to make that real estate count.
Yeah, but you should be sitting there drinking your water, going one of these, just spinning the whole thing around trying to read it. I'm in thought.
Yeah, I'm just contemplating.
But I will admit too, I did the calculator thing.
But the problem with that water bottle technique is that if the water is cold enough, then condensation will moisturize the paper, and then
that's right.
A 6 will turn into a 9, or an 8 will turn into
the ink will run,
9,
my friend.
And it will just be a whole thing, and then you're trying to explain to your teacher why 4 plus 5 equals 49, and it's I just don't get it. So anyway.
We also live in a world now where 4 plus 5 equals 49, and if you argue with somebody, they'll tell you that you're wrong. It does. That's right. Alternate reality.
That's it. So wait, so am I reading this as the outro? Do I have to
do what you want do with it what you will?
Did you get my message today about me hearing Colin blow on
Yeah, I did.
MLB Network? Yeah, I thought that was funny.
McCarver, right? McCarver passed away.
He did. Yes, he did. On a lighter note, the World Baseball Classic starts in about 6 weeks.
I have noticed a very, very much so an uptick in baseball talk.
Oh yeah, the season's around the corner. Spring training.
February.
Opened. No, but spring training's open. There are pitchers and catchers that are.
No, I'm saying in my mind, I'm it's February, but you're right. Yeah, we're at the point where it's starting to.
Which
we're getting golf tournaments going on again, and football's over. No one's talking about anything else.
It warms my heart when baseball spring training starts because it tells me that we are on the back nine of winter.
Yeah,
and spring is around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with football. Like I always associate the football season with like when it starts, it's like, oh, that's the end of the summer. But when it ends, it's the end of the winter. And like things will start to turn around. So anyway.
And then you have the XFL trying it again.
What is it? He hate me. Is that what the guy's name? He hate me?
Yeah,
All right, let me try this. All
right. Then we can end.
That's all for this week's episode of Open Caller. Thank you for joining us for another round of discussion and analysis on all things movies, TVs, and comic books. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a rating and review. We appreciate your support and can't wait to bring you even more content, great content, next week. Until then, this is Steve McCoy signing off. Keep it geeky, and we'll see you on the next episode of Open Caller.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.